off in advance of the Open Championship. It's kind of like the eve of the Open because of the time difference, and you can stay up really, really late tomorrow night if you want to watch some of the opening shots. Jim, 1995, the year that John Daly won the Open at St. Andrews, you were a participant. What are the players feeling at the home of golf as they get set now a day away from the start of the British Open?
Yeah, I mean, they're excited about the Open, but it's at St. Andrews, which takes it to a whole new level. And I remember in 95, I had flown in from Kingsmill where we played the week before. It was 105 degrees, and I got to St. Andrews Monday at some point, I remember, and I didn't want to go to bed because you want to stay up and get on the time change. And Jack Nicklaus was actually walking to the first tee with 3 clubs. And my caddy and I were just going to kind of go out and maybe play a few holes or whatever. And he said, why don't we walk with him? And so I literally walked an entire practice round with Jack Nicklaus my first time around St. Andrews. And he showed me specifically how to play every hole in every wind direction, aiming points. Obviously, you avoid the bunkers and stuff like that. But it was an amazing first day there. I mean, I just you can't win this on Jeopardy to go around with Jack Nicklaus. And him just show me. And then Saturday, I was actually paired with Tiger Woods, who was a 19-year-old amateur.
Wow.
And he was, hitting these shots really high and trying to hit it hard and far. And I think he ended up beating me for the day, but I think I got him for the week. And then to see him where he is now, it's just so amazing because that was the beginning of where we really saw Tiger Woods playing in professional events. It wasn't his first one, obviously Milwaukee was, but just that whole week, just being there, Sissy and I stayed at the hotel right at the golf course, and I just always remember, like at nighttime, people are literally walking all over the golf course because it's public, and they're not on the greens, they're not in the bunkers, and it's just an amazing place, and it's where our game started, and that's, I think, what these guys are feeling. A, it's the Open, but B, it's at St. Andrews, and I think when you get older, you appreciate it more, and I do, and watching a little bit that I've watched this week. Of course, I'm doing the LPGA event up in Michigan. But it's just it brings back so many great memories for me.
All right, Jim, I think we're done. I mean, I don't know what you can do to top that. So you mentioned playing in it as a player, playing a practice round with Jack Nicklaus, playing in the third round with Tiger Woods, and what else can you say? We're done.
I know it's finished. I answered all your questions in one. I knew you had to get to another guest right after this, so I just wanted to make it quick. I'm used to doing TV on the ground, when I call live golf. But no, seriously, it's a unique golf course. It's like nothing else. And I think when you first get there, had I not walked around with Jack Nicklaus, I'm not sure I would have appreciated it because you don't always go down the fairway straight away. You can go left off nearly every tee.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. I've got a dear friend who has traveled the world and has played St. Andrews, I don't know, maybe 50 times. And we were talking about it. He's like, look, Richard, if you ever go and you get a chance and you're going to miss left.
Every time. Left. Every time. But the problem with that, it makes the second shot coming in a lot more difficult. It's the safer play off the tee to avoid the bunkers. And that's what Jack showed me. Several tees, like if you think of 14, the par 5 at 600 and some holes, you're obviously trying to avoid the 2 or 3 bunkers called the beer bunkers, which are in the middle, on the left side of the fairway technically. And there's OB down the right. If you're downwind, you hit it straight away. You can see the green. You can knock it on, get close in 2. And you can avoid Hell Bunker, which is short, and it's like Jack Nicklaus made 10 there, I think, the opening day. Hit left in the bunker, I think, 4 different times. So, or you can go way left down the 5th fairway and play around the Hell Bunker. So that's the thing. There's so many options to play it that I think that's why you see guys that have played it. Or if I was to advise any of these guys, of course, it's too late for them now, you go out with someone who's played it because there's so many different ways to play it. And I think that's why you've seen Tiger win a couple of times there, Jack having the success there, those great players who are obviously some of the best chess players golf-wise in our game.
So coming in 17, 18, those holes are not the most difficult golf holes. Is that a good finishing stretch, 17, 18 coming in at St. Andrews?
Well, actually 17 is a hard hole. Actually 17 in 2010 averaged 4.6, I'm going to say 5 something. And in 2015, it played right 4.6, whatever. It was one of the hardest holes we've played until this last week at the Scottish, where it played in 4.6 stroke average. The thing about 17, if it's downwind, yes, it's not that big a deal. But if you get into the wind or a crosswind, you can take, and it's the strangest hole because you've got the hotel on the right, and it says Old Course Hotel, and you actually, the aggressive line is over the word hotel. And
it's
that's
over the top,
the right side. Sir, what's that?
I said it's over the top of the hotel, right?
It's over what they call the barns, and it's just inside the actual building of the hotel. And there's more room right than you think. Obviously, you don't want to get too far right. But most of the people hit it through the fairway left, and then you come into a green that's cut more right to left diagonally, and if you hit anything to the middle, to the left center of the green, it goes in that deep bunker, and you may be in there a while. Or if you bail out right, you're over on the road, and then the wall's over there, and you don't get relief. So I think that's the tricky part. Downwind, that whole plays fairly easy. 18 is a very easy finishing hole, yes. And I think that there's no question to that point. I don't think they're going to get the wind that they've had today or where they can have in the past. So the golf course, from listening to these guys, has been very firm. And that brings even more different strategy in there. Guys may not hit driver as much. They may try to drive greens. But if you get it in any of these fairway pot bunkers, it's a wedge out if you're lucky. And that's the difficult part and the tricky part. I would say most people that didn't really appreciate St. Andrews would come over and go, woo, this is quirky. This is weird. But there's strategy to it, and it makes sense the more you play it. I actually bought a book, a couple books over there to try to figure out, how do you play this golf course? But then I walk on the first hand, there's Jack. So I think that's why
throw that book in the trash can.
What's that?
I said throw the book in the trash can. I got something better than a book now. Exactly,
and I'm telling you, back in when I played, I never really took a lot of notes, and my yardage book was full of notes. And I look back at it, I think it was 2015, and I think I did live from, and I saw notes: aim at this steeple or aim at this part of the bleachers, and it was just like, dang, and I was trying to visualize it in my head. And it's just hard to do. But, when you get to 18, it's got one fairway in there. Here's a cool story, and I know you got things to do, but I'm walking down the first tee with Paul Azinger and Vijay Singh. And lo and behold, Arnold Palmer is walking down 18, and he has stopped to take a picture on the bridge. And Paul and I, stop and clap and wave and do all that stuff, and that's in 95. 10 years later, Jack's going across the bridge, and Paul Azinger is playing and walking down number one. So those are the things that I just my memories from there, Augusta, those things I will have as long as I still have my mind, and I'll always remember that. Sissy and I going over there, because I used to approach the British, and now it's called the Open, with more of a vacation. Let's have a good time, and it's a tournament, a championship. We kind of approached it that way, and that's I think why I played fairly decent in there. I love Turnberry, I love Muirfield, and I got to play St. Andrews. Royal St. George, I never figured that one out, and I only got to play over there 4 times. But if you're ever going to go on a trip with a bunch of guys, you got to play St. Andrews. You got to play Muirfield, Carnoustie. It's how golf started, and everybody would come over here and say, "Oh yeah, this is a links golf course." We can't ever duplicate what they've got over there. Our ground is too soft, too different, and it's just an amazing thing. You can tolerate that, over there. I think if we had to play it every day over here with our soft conditions, it would completely be a different game. But it's just an amazing place, and you get all that history. I think that's really the cool part of it.
Hey, man, I'm just waiting on the phone call. When you want to take that guy's trip and be the tour guide, I'm in. I'm in.
I barely leave home except to work.
I understand. You've been incredibly busy and also generous with your time. Just a minute and a half or so left, Jim. Give me 2 or 3 guys, because there's so many stars that are young and are good and are capable, but there's still something about experience at St. Andrews. Who are you picking?
I think I kind of like Rory this week. He looks relaxed. He looked like he's in. And I would have said Xander Schauffele, but I think last week took a lot out of him. Those are guys. Zalatoris has played great in every major, so you wouldn't be surprising. But I think somebody like a Rory, or even that's just. I think it's open to a part, but I think experience is going to be overall the winner here. And I kind of like Rory, and I always pick him in some of the majors, but I do like him because he didn't get a chance to defend his title when he came back. And there's just something about the way he's playing. It could be magical this week for him.
Is there a scenario where we could see magic from Tiger this week?
I think if he made the cut, that would be pretty dang good. I just think he's physically, he says he's okay. I just don't know his game is as sharp as it could be. Firm and fast kind of helps him because he can kind of keep up with these guys where you don't have to bomb it. But he still doesn't look, obviously, never will be 100% walking. It's easier to walk than Augusta. But, I mean, making the cut would be pretty strong. And he has the mental ability to do it. It's whether he can physically. I think the golf shots are there. The short game still has some rust. But I think it's a matter of can he do it for 4 days. And that's been the tough part the last couple of tournaments he's played in.